Hi guys, today we are going to study about the nested classes. The nested classes are those classes which are contained in some container class. As you can see in the screen, we are having a class constants, and that class is having some other classes in it, contained in it. The message class and the health condition check class. The message class is being used by me in this current example for you to keep all my messages which I am gonna display on the screen, and this class can be used to contain all the messages which will be used in the entire project. And the other class is health condition check class. The health condition check class is being used by me to carry all the constants which will be telling me that after this age the patient will be required, the animal will be required the health check for heart or any other kind of health checks. In this example we are considering only the heart health check, which is equal to 35, right? So the nested classes, as you have seen in this example, I am using the nested class for classification. First of all, I would like to tell you what the container class. The container class can be having two kinds of access modifiers. One is public, other is internal. By default, the container class is having the internal access modifier, and the nested classes can have 5 types of access modifiers: public, private, protected, internal, and internal. So coming back to the topic, we are talking that in this example we are using the nested class for classification, to have my classes or my objects or my messages or my any kind of constants I'll be using better classified in my project and better available for me, to avoid the constant hell position. Like I'm having too many constants, I'm having like thousands of constants, and if I'm not having any classification, like I'm not classifying my objects that this is message or these are the message constants, these are the health condition check constants, a hell will be created, and there will be too many of the constants which I'll have to remember them all the time, right? So the other use of the nested class can be like I'm having some class, it is really very complex class, and I need the subordinate objects to handle, to properly handle and manage that class. Over here we are taking the example of animal. As you can see, I have declared a class named animal, and I am having a class nested class which is private to it as disease. So we are considering that in this example we are considering that a nested class cannot exist without the parent class, like a disease cannot exist without a parent class, without an animal. If there is no animal, there can be no disease. So in this example we are having a private class which is disease, right? And we are having an interface which is interface I disease. So what we are doing over here is, we know we want to control that the nested class is not exposed to the external world, and but we need its values outside the class. Like if somebody is having some disease, if somebody is having nausea, or if somebody is having prurigo or pruritus, whatever kind of disease he is having, then what's going to happen? You can only detect, doctors can only detect the disease, doctors can only detect that there is some disease to that person, but but nobody can touch the values of that disease or change the values of that disease. It will be controlled by inner self or the state of that animal. let's suppose that the animal was exposed to the rain and he got his nose sneezing, or he is having some allergy to the rain and his skin is itching, right? So the disease came from the value that animal was exposed to the rain, yes, so the disease will be this. The value of the disease, the intensity of the disease depends upon the state of the animal, right? So this is what we are considering over here, right? So what we are doing over here is we are checking whether the health check is required for my animal or not, right? I have declared a class animal and I am having an internal class which is disease. This is my internal class, nested class I should say, and it is having a constructor public disease which is taking an input as integer as age, and in that constructor I am giving a boolean. I am taking a boolean value. I am assigning value to a boolean which is if age equal to if age equal to my heart check required, or I should say greater than heart check required, greater than equal to heart check required, then boolean should be true. That means is test required. Okay, so let us see what is happening over here. I have implemented my interface IDGs, and this is how it is going. My public variable is through the interface, and my is test required is the internal class field is private, which is not exposed to the external world, and I am having a function get animal health where I have declared the object of the disease equal to, and I am passing the constructor the age of the animal, like I have declared the age over here. So let's come to my main program. I have declared the object of the animal. I have assigned the age equal to 40. So let us see what my class has got to show me. Do this animal need the check or not? Let us just check. So I am trying to get the status of the disease of get the health status of the animal through the interface, which I have declared iDisease, and I am declaring its object over here, which will be pointing towards the class object, right? I have to return the disease object from this function, and I'll have to call this function to be able to get the disease status of the animal, right? So this is how it goes, and let us see what is the health condition of that guy. And I can clear one more variable over here, health check not required. Okay, so let us complete this thing. So let us see what does my object says. Who is of 40 years of age? Oh my god, there are some errors. So the error says that the accessibility of the class, nested class, is less than the accessibility of the function. What here we have to do is we have to return the interface object, and that will be caught in the interface. And let us try to run this now. Okay. Okay, console dot read line. Right. Let's see what my object says now. Please get yourself health check because he is above 35. So if my object is 20, what did it say now? Oh, you are fit. Perfect. So here now I am going to tell you some recommendation before which should be considered before I declare a nested class. The overuse of nested class also reduces the maintainability and your class may look messed up. Some of the design recommendations for your class should be, if it is not really necessary or if you are not really considering the classification of the classes, then you should not go for the public nested class, right? You should implement your class, you should try to implement your class as private or the internal, right? If your class has no standalone significance without the enclosing class, then creating it as a nested class is a good idea. Like disease I am creating, if there is no animal, then there will be no disease. If your class needs to access the private member of the object creating it, you can implement it as a nested class. If the class needs to implement, or you need your class outside class values outside the containing class, then you can use the interface as we have used in this example. One thing more we should be knowing while talking about the nested classes, like here in this example I am having a class outer class. Okay, now I am declaring a inner class. So what do you think? To create an object of the inner class, do I really need to declare the object of the outer class? Or if I say So in this example, what do you think? If I create the object of the inner class, would it call the constructor of the outer class? Let us see what happens. Let us try this. I am fit and my outer class object was not called. Now instead of public constructor, if I had the static constructor, what would happen? Should it call the outer class constructor when I create the object of the inner class? No. So when we are using the inner class as a public class, then the behavior of the class is totally changed. It won't anymore depend upon the existence of the object of the outer class. You can also declare the object, create the object of the outer class inside your inner class. And use it as per your requirement. So guys, this is all about the nested classes, and for any further questions on the nested classes, you can mail me at sachin.goyal@gmail.com, and you can also